Hello, very warm welcome to Middle East Matters. I'm Sanam Shantier. This week, we're bringing you an entertainment politics special program, starting with Egyptian actor Amr Waked, who's been accused of high treason in his home country for speaking out against human rights abuses. Later in the program, using comedy to bridge the cultural divide, we'll be heading over to La République here in the French capital to meet with Iranian-American comedian Maz Jobrani. Thank you all for watching Middle East Matters. First, to an actor and filmmaker known to international audiences for his roles in Hollywood films Syriana and Lucy, but most recently, Amr Waked has come under the spotlight for a different reason. The 46-year-old Egyptian was expelled from the country's actors' union, along with another actor for committing what's being referred to as high treason. This after the two men spoke out against President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at a meeting with US members of Congress. Amr joins me here on Middle East Matters. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Amr, can you explain to us what's happened to you a bit? Because you have been referred to, you have been dubbed a traitor, a terrorist, for simply speaking out against the government.
You put it very clearly. This is exactly what happened. So, and if there's anyone to explain and elaborate on this, I think are the ones who are posing these accusations.
And of course, given the accusations, currently you're not simply prevented from acting in Egypt. That's the least of your worries. You have had some reports that potentially you could face an 8-year military prison sentence if you return.
Indeed, these are the reports that I have heard, and I have checked through means of unofficial means, and there were 2 confirmations about these reports.
So you've had 2 confirmations at this stage, but I know that your meeting with these US lawmakers wasn't necessarily the first time that you've spoken out against the leadership in Egypt, of course. You've previously used social media to voice your concerns, certainly about the direction that Egypt is currently going towards, this crackdown on dissent.
Indeed, I have been active ever since the January 2011 revolution. And I have been trying to voice my opinion to the better of the country and the people. And so far, it has brought me a lot of attacks and a lot of accusations. But I never thought really they could materialize to the state we are in today. I think what we are seeing in Egypt today is really nothing that we have ever expected and nothing that we have seen before. I think we're looking at a medieval situation, and it's 2019, and the people have done 2 revolutions so far for liberty and democracy, and not for getting tied up by laws and regulations that prohibit you from expressing your opinion.
I will come back to that topic of course, the wave of repression. But Amr, in 2013, when Mohamed Morsi was removed from power by Sisi, did you come out to actually defend that move? Or did you, in the process, change your mind? Was it initially an idea that you were on board with?
Any movement that comes from the people, I will defend. And what happened in the 30th of June was a movement of the people, and I did defend it. And I did defend it against anyone who was trying to misinterpret it, and anyone who is trying to kidnap it, like I'm doing today. What is happening in Egypt is terrible, considering what happened on the 30th of June and January 2011.
And of course, we're seeing this wave of repression, not just in Egypt, but across the region. We're talking about Iran, Saudi Arabia. And yet we have certain world leaders that are standing shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Sisi, of course, Mohammed bin Salman. What's your message to them? What needs to be done here?
I think the message is very clear. I'm reading that change is coming. Algeria is in evidence. Sudan is in evidence. What happened in Egypt before is in evidence. I think what people, leaders of the world, should position themselves properly to the change that's coming. I mean, that change will judge partners of their oppression as much as they will judge their oppressors.
Lastly, Amr, do you have any hope at this stage, or do you think that indeed Egypt will follow in the footsteps of the likes of Algeria and Sudan, a second Arab Spring, if you like?
I don't think it's a second Arab Spring. I don't think the movement that happened in Egypt in June was a second Arab Spring. I don't think Algeria is a second Arab Spring, or even Sudan. I think the people of the Arab
I think
world...
that's a general reference to the people of the region rising up against the establishment.
Exactly, rising up against oppression, rising up for their liberty, for their right to choose, for their right to voice their opinion. It is a very normal... It's like forces of nature. It's like the force of gravity. It is very unwise to ignore it and very stupid to go against it.
Amr Waked, Egyptian actor, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story with us here on Middle East Matters.
Thank you.
And for the second part of this special program, we're heading over to La République here in Paris, where I met with one of my favorite comedians, Maz Jobrani. The Iranian-American comic was here in the capital as part of a European tour, performing 11 shows over 9 days. Now, born in Tehran, Maz moved to the US with his family at the age of 6. He studied political science before realizing his dream of becoming a comedian. And his latest project is a podcast, Back to School with Maz Jobrani. Check it out.
I'm Iranian. I was born Muslim, but I'm not really religious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Muslim-ish. I'm just not that religious. Like, if I were really Muslim, I would have to, I would have to fast during Ramadan. I don't fast during Ramadan. I couldn't drink alcohol. I drink alcohol. I'd have to pray 5 times a day. I don't pray. The only time I ever pray is if I'm almost in a car accident. And then I'll just go, oh, Jesus. It's the wrong God. It's the wrong God. I do. I say, oh, Jesus, because it's faster. Oh, Jesus, it's just faster. If you go, oh, Muhammad, takes too long. It takes too long. If you go, oh, Muhammad, you're going to end up in the car accident. You'll be in the ambulance. I should have gone with Jesus.
Maz, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to start off with some straight-off questions.
Yes.
How tough was it breaking into the comedy scene as an Iranian?
You know, I grew up in America, and I was a big fan of Eddie Murphy and of Richard Pryor and George Carlin and all those guys growing up. The difficulty wasn't on the American side accepting me, because I grew up basically American. The difficulty was my immigrant Iranian parents accepting that I wanted to be a comedian. They really had wanted what they feel is, I think a lot of immigrant parents want their kids to be what is considered a reputable profession, have that. And I don't blame them. They want the job security for their kids. They don't know that you can actually make a living being a clown, basically. So here we are.
You're very modest.
Yeah.
But you've, of course, used your comedy as well to try and bridge the gap, whether it's culturally, socially, or even politically.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me is, again, growing up Iranian in America. I moved to America right at around the Iranian Revolution, and then the hostage crisis happened. And back then, I would see that the Americans would pick on Iranians. Sometimes they would beat them up. Sometimes I have people tell me that they know people that got killed because they were Iranian and they were getting, beaten up and attacked because of the hostage crisis. And so I saw early on the discrimination and also the negativity that came with being of Iranian or Middle Eastern descent in America. So as I did my stand-up, I started looking around and going, well, we're funny people, we're good people, but unfortunately, the majority of films and television and news coverage that we get is negative. So I said, hey, why not push this envelope of saying this is the positive side? There's a lot of positivity from people of the Middle East. And so that's definitely one of the things that I try to put out there. I hope that when Americans come see my show, they leave laughing and going, oh, wow, there was, people of Middle Eastern descent in the room. Nobody tried to attack us. They were laughing with us. They're good people. And that's a good message to have.
You guys are smart in Paris. You know what's going on, right? Travel ban 1.0, 2.0, all Muslim countries. People started saying it's a Muslim ban. So the Trump administration wanted to show they're not anti-Muslim. So for travel ban 3.0, they added 3 new countries to show how not anti-Muslim they are. They added North Korea. I didn't know they were coming. I've been there 41 years. I've never met a North Korean. But now they really can't come. They also added Venezuelan diplomats. So not the whole country, just 10 dudes from Venezuela, they can't come. And then they added Chad, which I thought was some guy.
I want to move on to the next segment. I've noticed you're a fan of global trivia, and I want to test just how Iranian you are with a round of quick-fire questions.
Okay.
Should we go?
Wait.
So what does the word Iran actually mean in Persian?
Iran comes from Aryan. It was the Aryan, it was the Caucasus, the Aryan, we were...
What does it mean, Math?
Iran means land of Arya.
Perfect.
That's good.
Good job. Now, Persians make up most of Iran. What ethnic grouping is the second largest?
Azerbaijani.
Very good, the Azeris.
My father was Turkish.
Now, what other countries other than Iran is the language Persian spoken?
Tajikistan, Afghanistan, the other one.
Uzbekistan.
Another
and actually
Istan.
a small part of Georgia.
And Georgia.
What's the world's oldest religion, which was founded in ancient Iran?
That would be Zoroastrianism.
Very good. After oil, what's Iran's second largest commodity?
Pistachios.
A carpet.
Pistachio carpets.
Iran was the first country in the Middle East to have a condom factory. True or false?
Condom factory? Wallah, I did not know this. I'm going to go with true.
Very good. Name 3 things that the Persians invented.
3 things a person invented. Geez, I'm going to go with numbers, or was that the Arabs?
No, that was us.
Oh, I'll take it. Numbers, astrology, and rice.
No, that's the Indians. Backgammon. Now, lastly,
Backgammon, yes.
you're in France.
Yes.
French is the language of love, as you know. And I personally think that Persian is fiercely underrated.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to seduce our viewers in Persian, and you can do it in one word with your sort of word of the week with Maz, or you can do it with a phrase.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
سلام دوستان عزیز، دوستتون دارم، عاشقتون هستم، دمتون گرم، قربونت برم.
Maz, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you
Okay.
so much
Au revoir.
for the interview with us here on Middle East Matches.
Thank you.